A sunken lane, also holloway or holloway, is a road or track that is significantly lower than the land on either side, not formed by the recent engineering of a road cutting but possibly of much greater age. Various mechanisms have been proposed for how holloways may have been formed, including erosion by water or traffic, the digging of embankments to assist with the herding of livestock, and the digging of double banks to mark the boundaries of estates. These mechanisms are all possible and could apply in different cases. A variety of theories have been proposed for the origins of holloways. Different mechanisms may well apply in different cases. Some sunken lanes are created incrementally by erosion, by water, and traffic. Some are very ancient with evidence of Roman or Iron Age origins, but others such as the deep hill ruts in the old Oregon Trail at Guernsey, Wyoming developed in the space of a decade or two. Where ancient trackways have lapsed from use, the overgrown and shallow marks of holloways through forest may be the sole evidence of their former existence. On disused ridgeways in central Germany, the holloways often mark inclines. The earth banks on either side, sometimes topped with hedges and trees, can give the impression of a tunnel enclosing the traveler. Because the roadway is restricted by the banks on either side, sunken lanes typically admit the passage of only one vehicle, that is, they are single-track roads. Occasional passing places may be provided, but a meeting of vehicles in a sunken lane often requires one party to reverse to a suitable passing place. In central Germany, dual carriageways have been observed with two trenches side by side where a trackway was in such heavy use that it had lanes dedicated for each direction. Up to the present day, some writers have assumed that low banks were deliberately created with shovels as a means to hem in cattle, but there is no evidence for this, and in any case, banking only appears intermittently in certain types of soil. When metalled, sunken lanes are unlikely to erode any further down. In The Making of the English Landscape, W.G. Huskins explains the origin of some English holloways as a pair of matched earth banks marking the boundaries of two landowners' estates, as evidenced by the two-fold ditch, Twyfield dyke in a charter of circa 1174 describing the boundary between the Abbot of Tavistock's land at Abbotsham, Devon, and Richard Coffin's land at Alwinton and Cockington. He gives another example, also from Devon, in a photograph of Armorwood Lane, Thorverton, which bounded the Royal Silverton estate and the estate of Exeter Abbey, most likely in the 7th century. Hoskins states that some such lanes are Celtic, some Saxon, some medieval. A sunken lane extending across the battlefield played an important role in the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, particularly in presenting an obstacle to the French cavalry. Victor Hugo dramatized this episode in Les Miserables. Sunken lanes are common in the west of France, in the bocage landscape, especially around Lower Normandy, Brittany, and Anjou. The bocage landscape is historically famous for having been a particular feature of some conflicts, including the Chouannerie, or more recently the Battle of Normandy. The German army used sunken lanes to implement strong points and defenses to stop the American troops on the Cotentin Peninsula and around the town of Saint-Lô. One such lane, the sunken lane at Hawthorne Ridge west of Beaumont-Hamel in northern France, is remembered as an assembly point for British troops, many of whom were filmed there on the first day on the Somme, July 1, 1916, by Geoffrey Malins for the film The Battle of the Somme. One of the largest networks of such routes in Germany is to be found in the municipalities of Altschium and Mettenheim in Rhineland-Palatinate, where there they make up over 30 km of hiking trails. Some of these sunken lanes can be up to 5 meters deep. In Galicia and western Asturias, both regions on northern Spain, the sunken lanes are usually called congostras or corredores, from Latin co angusta confined and coup road, curara run, being a common and characteristic feature of rural areas. Some lanes are now being recovered as hiking trails. Aside from the Oregon Trail, sunken roads are found in states along the Atlantic seaboard, where European settlement began in the 17th century. In the Baltimore and Washington, D.C. areas, some sunken roads dating to that era have become busy suburban routes whose high embankments testify to their long history of traffic. A sunken road played a major role in many military operations, such as the American Civil War battles at Antietam, Fredericksburg, and Shiloh. In Syria, faint traces of holloways attest to a dense network of tracks or paths connecting Bronze Age sites with each other and with their cultivation zones in the 4th and 3rd millennia BC, and thousands of kilometers of such routes have been surveyed. Sunken lanes are a characteristic feature of the landscape of southern England, especially in the chalk areas of the North and South Downs, and green sand areas such as the Weald. The Surrey Hills AONB has many sunken lanes. Seal Hollow Road in Sevenoaks is a fine example of a sunken lane in southern England. They are a particular feature of the West Country. In counties such as Dorset and West Wales, areas unaffected by the land enclosures of medieval England. The English name holloway, derives from the Old English holloways, a sunken road. While many sunken lanes are now metalled, some are still unsurfaced green lanes, typically now designated as either bridleways or byways. A sunken road is a cross-country equestrian obstacle. McFarlane, Robert, Richards, Dan, Donwood, Stanley, Illustrator, 2013. Holloway. Faber and Faber.cs1 made, multiple names, authors list, link.